This is Here and Now at 99.1 in Toronto.
London, England-based singer-songwriter Amy Winehouse released her debut CD, Frank, last year. All sorts of hysteria followed. She's been compared to everybody, and it's a wide range of people. Billie Holiday, Erykah Badu, Sarah Vaughan, Lauryn Hill. You could throw in just about any other female singer there, and maybe some men as well. Frank has mixed up jazz and soul and hip-hop, made it to a lot of best of 2003 lists. She's a real star in the UK, and the CD is finally out in North America. She has made the trip across the pond to talk about it. Hello.
Hello.
You're not playing, though. You're just here to talk about it, and you're playing a private show and then hopefully touring later on or something like that?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm going to be doing the Sugar Hut tomorrow night. Is it the Sugar Hut? Sugar Cube?
Okay.
That's tomorrow night. And then I go to Montreal for the festival.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Tell me about the last year. It must have been absolutely out of control for you.
It's really good, yeah. I'm working a lot, that's cool. They're keeping me busy, but it's really good, I don't have that much time at all to go in the studio. But, I'm going to have to start working around the clock, obviously.
This is your first record.
Yeah, this is my first one.
The response was incredible. Were you surprised by that? Were you sort of expecting anything?
Well, I'm really proud of my songs, I'm proud of my writing. So that's probably the one thing in my life that I'm really confident in. So I knew that I would get some attention. They've been really good to me. Like, the British press are pretty tough, you know what I mean? But they've been really good to me.
How so?
Well, they wait for you to mess up, really. They want you to mess up, that really, just so they can have something to write, because there's nothing positive to write about in the music industry right now, and the journalists are just, jaded about that, so they have to write about the negative things rather than the good side of music, who's changing things and being different,
Have you been writing songs for a long time?
Yeah, I guess I've been writing since I was about 15. I was writing poetry when I was a kid, like from 8 or something, I always liked to play around with words. Yeah.
Tell me about music that you heard. I'm always interested as to what people's parents played them and what they heard in the house where they grew up.
Well, my mum always had around like James Taylor and Carole King, and my dad was always Sinatra. We had Tony Bennett in the house and Sarah Vaughan, but I think, I've got a much better record collection. People are really keen to say, she must have had access, that's the word, access to a big record collection. But really, I didn't at all until I got a bit older, and my brother went to university and he left his CD player and all his CDs. That was it.
So
really.
when you broke into his room, what did you find on top of the pile?
Well, he would have been 18, so he had the best jazz. He had not so much vocal jazz, but he had some vocal jazz that I still listen to today. Dinah Washington, she's one of my favourite singers of all time. But he had stuff that was just so challenging for me. I wanted to be pushed, you know what I mean? Thelonious Monk and Miles Davis and all this stuff, I was like, I just couldn't believe this music.
How old were you when you were hearing this?
14 or so, 13 or 14.
I mean, 14-year-olds don't normally listen to Thelonious Monk.
Yeah, I wanted to be challenged, I really wanted to be challenged. And I think I started writing songs because there was nothing current, and I wanted to be that current thing, or I wanted to hear it, and I wanted to challenge myself on every level, with the guitar and with everything. I would purposely say, write a riff that I couldn't play, and then by the time I'd written the whole song, I could play it, because I would have played it so much.
Tell me about the music on this record, because there is that element of the classic jazz, but I mean, it is so all over the map, and a lot of people have talked about the way that you mix the jazz stuff with beats and kind of fuse those two together.
Yeah.
Is that just how you listen to music, that you have all these different kind of things?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a jazz singer, but there's so much jazz in my voice that I don't have to really have loads of jazz in the record. My album's like a beat-driven jazz record, I would say. But that's all I really listen to is rap. There's no, when I started writing the album, and when I started to write, from that age, like maybe 14 or 15, there was no current music that really challenged me. The only music there was, like the Monks of to then and the Miles Davises of then and the Minguses of then were like, Nas, Mos Def, Busta Rhymes, like poets, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Tell me about the lyrics as well. A lot of people have worked up a fury about the lyrics and some of the songs. I mean, there's a tune called "Stronger Than Me" that we played earlier, which seems to be inspired by one guy. I mean, did you actually get dumped and then go and write this song?
Yeah, we split up and then I wrote the song, but he didn't. I don't think he finished with me. He did finish with me before. That's when I wrote another song on the album called "Take the Box." The second time we split up, I split up with him, which is why I'm probably less hurt and more kind of angry on "Stronger Than Me." You know, it's just me saying, I realised why, you know, for a while we had a really strong connection and I didn't understand why there was one thing that was off key with us, and it was that he was like the woman and I was like the man, you know what I mean? I was constantly supporting him.
We're going to play one more tune from this record. Tell us about Amy, Amy, Amy.
Amy, I wrote about, it's about sex really, I'm not going to lie, that's it. I wrote it a long time ago and that's it.
This is Amy Winehouse and Amy, Amy, Amy. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.